So today I'd like to take a look at an idea that I've blogged a bit about and that I've had a number of conversations with people about that have sparked off some really interesting conversations. And the topic is this: success versus significance. So where this began for me was that I started to have conversations with some of my mentors. These are very established, successful businessmen who have done a lot in their lives, and they are about to retire. And some of them have been planning their retirement for years, and some have been thinking about it for a short space of time. And what has been so interesting to me is listening to how they've been approaching their retirement. Some have done so in a way that has allowed them to kind of move into retirement very happily, and others have done so in a way that it's been a reluctant retirement, and others have done so in a way that they've been able to almost find a new breath of life. The challenge that I see a lot of people facing when they retire is really, what are they going to do? That so much of their purpose, so much of themselves is wrapped up in their day-to-day business, that it's quite difficult for them to think of an idea of being able to be valuable in society without what it is that they do on a day-to-day basis. And then I remember having this conversation with my uncle. My uncle told me about a very interesting concept, this idea of retiring, as in normal, like let me go and sit on a porch and drink tea until the cows come home. Or this idea of retiring, like retreading in a sense, putting on a new set of wheels for a different part of your journey. So understanding that the terrain in a retirement aspect of your life is very different to the terrain when you're working, and those two different terrains need two different sets of tires. You need to retread, and you need to rethink, and you need to refine the things that are interesting to you and that you're going to find purpose out of. And he shared with me a really interesting statistic that showed that people who retire versus people who retread, the people who retire tend to have a shorter lifespan than those who retread. And I've seen this not so much in the lifespan point of view, but in the quality of life point of view. I've seen this to be completely true. People that I've seen retire and retread themselves and give themselves new value in their retirement have had a much higher quality of life than those that have chosen to just sort of step back and take things as they come. The interesting thing for me is that as I started to have this conversation with mentors and with friends of mine, the idea of being successful versus the idea of being significant became quite a key point and a pivoting moment in the discussions. If we were to define success about being as much to define success in such a way that it's about how much we can extract from this world, how much money we can make, how many friends we can have, how many material possessions we can own, versus significance, how much we can put back into the world, how much we can make a difference in the lives of others, how much we can add value, how much we can shift and change things for better. The conversation of significance becomes a key conversation with people who are retiring, whereas the conversation of success tends to be where young people tend to be focused. I need to now learn how to extract from this world the things that I need to be able to live the life that I want to. But what's been very interesting to me is as I've had these conversations with young business people, especially young entrepreneurs, there's almost a distaste with the idea of extracting from the world as much as we can. This could be rooted in the fact that historically we have extracted so much from this world that we're starting to deal with issues like climate change, we're dealing with resource problems, etc., and we're just, as young people, looking at this world going, this is crazy. We can't continue to just be extracting from this world. And maybe that's a driver that's pushing us towards having a conversation of significance as opposed to one of success. But this conversation that I've seen happen in retired individuals is now a conversation that I'm starting to see take place in younger entrepreneurs, especially. And I think that it's a good thing. I think that we need to start thinking about the kinds of lives that we're putting into this world as opposed to the kind of lives that just extract from it. We need to start thinking about what we're going to put back into this world much sooner than our retirements. And if you take a look at the retirement statistics that show that people who have found significant ways to be able to contribute back into society and the value that it's put in their own lives, you will know that significance will naturally lead to success. That drive and that passion for being able to make a difference in this world will in itself create the success that you're looking for. And if you're smart about it, you might even be able to turn that significant conversation into a business venture that drives your economic drivers. But this idea of significance and success has become so key in some of the conversations that I've been having with people. And my encouragement is to those that are retiring to retread and to realize that a retirement is really only midway through your life, and that you have so much more value to give. And that if corporate environments and corporate business aren't willing to listen to that, then now's the perfect opportunity for you to be able to retrade yourself to be able to make that difference happen in your own stead. The younger people that may be listening to this, I think, need to really understand that getting to retirement may not be the right time to start thinking about significance. That actually we could probably build lives that are both successful and significant now as we start to develop our world. In the previous video, I spoke about finding narrative, and I think narrative is a way in which we can start to find significance, or at least start to find a heading towards living a significant life. And while as young people we still have to find an economic driver to build our lives out of, we don't have to do that in lieu of being significant. We can do that alongside being significant. And then you take a look at research that says that people who donate their time and resources into nonprofit organizations tend to be happier, tend to live less stressful lifestyles. It's not because they take on less. It's because this idea of giving back into the world is a stress reliever. It's an opportunity to feel better about ourselves. It's an opportunity to add value into the world. And these are good things that should be a part of our lives. And so my encouragement is that we start now to build lives of significance, as opposed to wait for our retirement years to be significant in this world. It's not enough to sit back on a lot of money and just potentially enjoy it. I've watched people do that and they don't really look like they're having that much fun. And then it's really not enough to just sit back and go, well, I've worked my time and now I can sit back and relax. I would say that if you're still alive on this planet, that you still have value to add to it. And so it's a huge challenge to say, let's be significant. Let's build significance into our world.